Hello everyone, today I will tell you about the biggest myth regarding gaming graphics cards for PCs. Often people wonder how much video memory their graphics card needs to comfortably play games. I have several different graphics cards right away, and I think you can see, accordingly, on the side, what's written here. The three lower graphics cards have 16 gigabytes of video memory, while the two upper ones have 8 gigabytes. I'll start with something simple. Friends, measuring a graphics card's performance solely by its video memory is foolish. You need to look at the GPU. You need to look at the bandwidth of this graphics card. You need to look at the frequency at which this video memory operates. You need to look at the number of CUDA cores, tensor cores, RT cores, and other indicators. Attention! The performance of your graphics card depends not only on the amount of video memory, but also on other factors. But at the same time, there are different graphics cards. For example, this cool and awesome 4060 which can come with either 8 gigabytes or 16. So, how much should you buy? For now, I'll remove the excess from here because we're going to talk about these two graphics cards, specifically the 4060 and the 4060. Both graphics cards have 8 gigabytes of GDDR6 memory. This is enough for full HD and quad HD resolutions, but unfortunately, not always and not in all cases. Remember, if you have the opportunity to buy a graphics card that you can afford, but with a larger amount of video memory, then buy the one with more video memory. Because nowadays, in the modern world, contemporary AAA level games require more than 8 gigabytes of video memory. But, again, it all depends on the resolution. If you are playing at full HD resolution, then in principle, probably 8 gigabytes will be enough for you. But if you are playing in quad HD or in 4K resolution, then in this case, attention, you need 16 gigabytes. Next, yes, there will be tests in games. You will see them. And I'll say right away, if you have, for example, a situation where your video memory consumption is around 7 gigabytes, like, I have 8, but what will happen next? Have you thought about it? At this moment, just think about what games will be like in the future, if it's already practically at the limit now. Therefore, if you want to avoid facing a situation in the future where you lack video memory, go for a 12 gigabyte graphics card or a 16 gigabyte GPU. Because in this case, you will truly have some reserve for the future. And attention, friends, if you suddenly find yourself lacking those same 500 megabytes or 1 gigabyte of video memory, then you will face really big problems, because your FPS in the game will start to sharply drop, like the stock market in 2008. Everything will be extremely bad because there won't be enough video memory. Accordingly, the video card will load textures into the slower system memory, and this immediately results in stutters and lags, slowdowns, and possibly even crashes from the game. So, speaking of the new type of memory GDDR7, I have an RTX 5080. Here we have the benefit of GDDR7, while the memory here is GDDR6. Is there a difference between GDDR6 and GDDR7 at all? Or is it just another number, like a new type of memory? No big deal. In fact, the difference is very significant because GDDR7 operates at a frequency of 30 GHz, while GDDR6, attention, operates at 17 to 18 GHz. In addition, GDDR7 uses more advanced compression algorithms, which is very important in things like DLSS, for example, 4. And now, attention, friends, many people truly believe in this myth that the more video memory you have, the more FPS you get. This is not true. If you have a game that consumes, let's say, approximately 7 gigabytes of video memory, and you have two graphics cards, 4060 one with 8 gigabytes and the other with 16 gigabytes, there will be no difference in FPS because everything is fine with both. But as soon as you increase the resolution from full HD to quad HD, and the video memory consumption increases to 10, then the 4060 with 8 gigabytes will start to struggle. And in this case, the 4060 with 16 gigabytes will actually be better. That's exactly why NVIDIA is now even putting 16 gigabytes of video memory in the 5070, which isn't exactly the top-tier graphics card. Because, attention, if we look at the same 3070, that is, the 3000 series of graphics cards, it only had 8 gigabytes of video memory. And now the owners of these graphics cards are facing a situation where the game seems to run fine, with good FPS. But as soon as the gamer tries to slightly increase the settings or graphics, it's all over. There's not enough video memory or performance. The GPU is sufficient to deliver a high FPS, but there's not enough video memory. As a result, you experience freezes, lags, slowdowns, and so on. Based on what I said, there's a simple formula. For full HD, that's 8 gigabytes of video memory. For quad HD, 12 gigabytes of video memory. 4K, 16 gigabytes. And if you follow this simple arithmetic, you'll achieve really high FPS, and everything will work for you. That's it. And don't forget, friends, and to back up my words, pay attention to the screen. There will be game tests.
The first game in the test is Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. We set 3 different screen resolutions. These are Full HD, Quad HD, and 4K. In addition, we set the graphics settings to Ultra, and DLSS4 to quality. And attention, it seems like everything starts off well. We can see that even 8 GB video memory will be sufficient, both for full HD resolution and for quad HD, but don't be fooled. Let's just take a quick 3-minute run through this small settlement in the game. And attention, the video memory consumption has increased significantly. Now 8 GB will not be enough even for full HD resolution. But it is worth noting that in full HD, the shortage will be minor, and in the end, you won't notice any lags. But in Quad HD resolution and in 4K, it's a real problem. If you ask me why this happens, I'll explain. Video memory is not like an SSD or HDD, where you just record some information and that's it. It stays there. Video memory is dynamic memory that regularly automatically loads and deletes things. And if there is a shortage of fast video memory within the graphics card, textures will be loaded into system memory, which is much slower. This is exactly why lags and freezes will appear. The second game in the test is Starfield. Everything is exactly the same. 3 resolutions, which are full HD, quad HD and 4K, as well as ultra graphics settings. The situation is the same, 8 GB. Video memory is sufficient for full HD, but with quad HD resolution, problems may arise. The third game in the test is the new Dune. Everything is the same with ultra graphics settings, Marquisin. The game is unreleased. In release, it is only available as a benchmark. And here is yet another confirmation for you. Despite the very good optimization of the game itself, a lot of video memory is definitely needed for 4K resolution. Well, graphics cards that have 8 GB of video memory on board can comfortably run most games at full HD resolution today. But you must understand that almost always, almost the entire amount of video memory will be used. And in the near future, you will encounter situations where your graphics card, even at full HD, will experience lags. And to avoid this, you will have to lower the graphics setting. And the test results are as follows. Graphics cards with 16 GB of VRAM are excellent cards that will last for many years to come. Well, now let's return to the studio.
The tests are over, and I think you saw for yourself what modern games can consume. Indeed, a lot of video memory. Even if we look at games from, I don't know, 3 years ago, like Cyberpunk 2077, it consumes a ton. Alright, let's look at other games. The same thing. Video memory consumption has long been over 6 GB, and often 8 GB won't be enough. But still, in 2025 and 2026, 8 GB for full HD will probably be enough. But, as I said, be careful. Still, if you have the opportunity to add a few dollars, get yourself a graphics card with 16 GB. Trust me, you'll really enjoy it more. And the coolest life hack, how to actually understand how much video memory is needed. Attention to the screen. This is Steam statistics, specifically on the amount of video memory among all gamers. I'm going to reveal a big secret to you now. Many studios, game studios, actually focus on Steam statistics. Often optimize their games for the average computer. If most people use 8 GB of video memory, then game developers will try to compress their games to fit 8 GB. But time moves on, and now, more often people have started installing graphics cards with 16 GB of video memory. And precisely because of this, the requirements for video memory volume will increase. Therefore, if you want a computer not just for now, but to play, as I said, normally for the next 2 to 3 years without lags, slowdowns, and so on, then 16 GB. That's your choice. Good luck to everyone. See you soon.